Hello guys. Cool. So this is the first video on the finance, and in this video we're gonna talk about revision finance topics that you guys did in grade 10. So there are two main things we spoke about. First was the simple interest, and second was the compound interest. So as for simple interest, this is what really happens, right? So you have money, say you have 1000 rand, and you decide to put it into a savings account offering an interest of 10%, right? Which we know that at 10% of 1000 rand is just gonna be 100 rand. So by the end of year one, what you would have gained in interest of 100 rand, so meaning your total amount of money you'll be having, like everything including interest, it will be 1100 rand, right? And if we decide to go and spend and save this money for another year, that is year two, what we do is we take the 1000 rand and then we calculate the interest, that 10% interest you will get from that the 1000 rand investment, and that 10% interest still gives you 100 rand. So therefore at the end of year two, you would still be having you will still receive an interest of 100 rand. So overall, now remember, you had 1000 rand which you invested at the initial year, or the start of the investment, and then at the end of year one you now had 100 rand, and at the year of year two you're gonna have another 100 rand. Do you understand? So now what we then do to calculate the amount of money you'll be having at the end of year two, we take the initial investment, which was 1000 rand, plus the interest you earned at the end of year one, which is 100 rand, plus the interest you earned at the year two, which is 100 rand. Adding all of that, 1000 plus 100 plus 100, that is what? That is 1200. So basically you have the amount of money that you did invest, right? This is P, the amount of money you started with. So okay, here's my 1000 rand, and then that P, right, we're gonna add the interest, right? Say we made an example for 2 years. Say you are investing it for how many years? For 3 years, ne? So you're gonna take that amount, 1000 rand, and then each year you know that you're always going to get an interest of 100 rand. And that interest, how do we multiply it? We find not how do you multiply, we find our interest for simple interest, or we find our simple interest by saying your principal amount multiplied by the interest that you are getting, right? So now this interest, which is represented by these two gentlemen here, the interest that you are getting, you're going to get the constant or the same, you're going to get the same amount at the end of each year of investment. So if you're investing for 5 years, therefore at the end of year one you have 100 rand, the year of year 200 rand, year 300 rand, year 400 rand, you know what I'm saying? So you're always gonna get 100 rand, depending also how long are you investing it. Then we're gonna multiply that 100 rand by the number of years, which is represented by n, right? Then you realize here, okay, so this is basically it, because this represents your interest, and then that interest we multiply by the number of years you are actually investing that money for, right? And as soon as you take the common factor out, which is P, you end up with this gentleman here, which is the formula for simple interest, right? And you can play with this formula to find the principal, which is the money that you invest, the initial amount that you invest, and then accumulated A is for accumulated amount, which is the total money you will be having at the end of the investment. and the number of years which you're investing the money for, and the interest is the interest you gain, from the money you've invested. That is just simple interest, man. So let's talk about compound interest. So as for compound interest, what really happens is this: you have money, 1,000 rand, né? And you want to invest it. Né? If you invest that money for a year, you're just gonna have this. That money at the end of the period, this is what you're gonna have: that money plus the interest, which is multiplied by interest times principal. That's the amount of money you're gonna have. And if you take out your common factor, you'll realize you have P1 plus I, right? And then it's basically the same as what we have here with NB1. But now I want us to focus here because we're talking about the accumulated interest. The compound interest, right? We're talking about a compound interest. So on the compound interest formula, there is N here, but in this case, if we invested the money for 1 year, therefore we know this is gonna be 1, right? Cool. Yes. So yeah, maybe let me do this. Let me say P1 plus I. Cool. So now, right, this is the interest we are going to have, and at the end of the period, this is the money we will be having in our account at the end of year 1. Right now, if we decide to invest, say we decided to invest our money, 1,000 rand, for 3 years. So far we've invested it for a year has gone by, and we have had our interest. We are good. Right now we are at the beginning of year 2. What happens is that instead of, for simple interest, it was the whole idea of the 1,000 rand being, it's like that 1,000 rand is being reinvested again, and then we gain interest on that 1,000 rand. Like, there is nothing mentioned about the interest we gain at the end of year 1. Yeah, well, but here we take the principal amount plus the interest we earned. That whole amount of money we invested again. Right. So now this is the principal amount plus the interest, and it's giving us this value. So we're going to take this value and invest it. Okay. Cool. So here's our money, right? And we are now investing it. That means when we do invest it now, we're going to get some interest. Now, so at the end of the period, the money we're gonna have, I think I want to make this a bit much more easier. And so I will say let this thing be what? Be K, right? So now we're going to invest K, which is this amount, right? So when we invest K for another year, yeah, at the end of that year, the amount we'll be having is the amount we did invest plus the interest, which is calculated by saying what? By saying K multiplied by I, right? And when you do this, you have actually K into 1 plus I, right? Do you understand that? So now I want us to, okay, let me see. Yeah, let me bring these guys down here. Come on, bro. Yeah, I just need more space. So now this is what we have, né? And then this is the amount of money we have at the end of year 2. Let me say year 1 and then year 2, right? So in trying to figure out exactly how much money we had at the end of year 2, we can take now K and substitute it. We know K is P, right? P into 1 plus I, right? And then this, we have substituted K now, and now we have 1 plus I, right? Which this thing, it's just P into 1 plus I. We have 2, right? um and now remember we said we are investing our money for 3 years, né? So this is the amount of money we still have at the end of year 2. Now when we get into the year 3, we take this whole money we have. Let me say that m equals to p into 1 plus I squared. This is the money we have at the end of year 2 or at the beginning of year 3. So now when we invest this money at the end of year 3, when we calculate how much money we have, the amount of money we have is going to be the amount we invested plus the interest it gained, right? Amount we invested plus the interest it gained, which you take out the common factor, you have m into 1 plus I, right? You substitute your m, which is p, so you have p 1 plus I squared times 1 plus I, then you have p 1 plus I to the power of 3, right? And then now from what we have done with investing 1,000 rand for 3 years and having compound interest, we are actually seeing this makes sense to be the formula for it. Makes sense that we have this as the formula for compound interest, right? Yeah. So cool, let's do a couple of examples, and I think that'll be the end of this section, or the end of revision. So let's say determine the value of investment of 10,000 rand. So we're going to determine the value of an investment of, so there was an investment of 10,000 rand, right, at that 12.1% simple interest. 12.1% per annum simple interest for 3 years, right? So this one, the investment that was made was 10,000 rand. So you're calculating the accumulated amount. You have P1 plus IN, which is 10,000 rand. You can include the units if you want, but whether you do include them or not, don't forget to include them when you write your final answer. So we can just say 12.1 over 100, which is basically 12%. Oh my god, I forgot times 3, which is n. Then go to your calculator. 10 1 2 3 times 1 plus 12.1 over 100 multiply by 3. All right, so this is the amount you have. This is 13,600, and right, this is the amount of money we are getting, right? And also, just to see, you could be like, okay, let me calculate my interest first. 10,000 multiplied by okay, let me say 3 years times 12.1 over 100, which is just, you're getting exactly this much, which is 10,000 plus interest. It gives us 3,630. So we're done. And then now we calculate the value of 8,000 rand invested at, but now it's compound interest. So just so A equals to P1 plus I plus N. Now substitution. Here when I said 1 2 3 1 plus right, and then you have 4 here, so you just put the whole thing in a calculator. 8 1 2 3 8 8.6 8.6 times 4. Wow. Oh. Yeah, so you end up having 11,127.8. Right. Just simple formula substitution math. Formula substitution math. Right, let's see what we have here. Calculate how much interest John will have. Hey, oh, John will earn if he invests. Cool, 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 cool. So we're just trying to calculate how much interest this man is gonna have, right? If he invests that much money, right? 2,000 rand for 4 years, right? And we have simple interest, we have compound interest. We are basically trying to compare, right? Yeah. So there are four. Okay, this I'll give you guys the simplest way to do this. You're gonna calculate the accumulated amount of investment for both interest over 4 year period. Yeah? After calculating the accumulated amount, you will now go and minus the accumulated. You're gonna minus the money he invested from the accumulated amount. Then the money you have at the end, that's your interest, right? So yeah, because it's basically the money that this guy earned over, over the period. So yeah, this side I'll do simple. So this side I have a equals to, come on bro, p1 plus I n. This side I have a equals to p1 plus I n. Substitution 2001 plus 6.7 over 100 multiplied by 4, 2001 plus 5.4 104. So we'll do the math. We have 2,000 rand into 1 plus 4 multiplied by 6.7 over 100. So the money we're getting is will come on to right. That's the money we have, and we got this side. Yeah, it looks like a road 11 here. Oh, wow. Okay. Right, 2001. Talala. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, no mistake. Usually like the compound interest is always like high, higher than the interest rate. It's the simple interest. I mean, yeah, so I got a bit shocked. I was like, hey. So now to calculate the interest, we can just say interest equals to a minus p, which is 2536 minus 2000, which is 536. And then here we say the same, to say interest minus minus 2000, and the final answer will be 468.27. Yeah, interesting. This is an interesting one. I think we're calculating simple interest. They say you invested in 2200 and you had the money of come on bro, you had the money of 8, you had the money of 3850. Okay, so I got stuck here. I was thinking of a method of, there's a simplest one. We'll start with it and I'll show you something. I don't know if it works, so I will be testing if it actually works. So here, of course, you have your formula. All right, and because it's simple interest, so yeah, then you do your substitution. I won't include the units for this one. So then usually the next step, we divide both sides by 2200. So here you would say you have 3000 divided by 2200 being equals to 1 plus 8i, right? I'm running out of space now, so allow me guys to do this. On the next step, of course, we are going to transpose minus 1, not minus 1, we're going to transpose 1, and it goes to that side, becomes negative, so therefore we could say minus 1, right? And 8i, right? And then you also realize that both sides we just multiply by 1 over 8, né? Yeah, so this side, the 1 over 8 is just gonna divide the 8, and then we're gonna have an I. Yeah, so we have 1 here, 1 over 8 into 3850 2200 minus 1. Yeah, so the value we are getting is actually 0.0993. Maybe let me save. Okay, let me 374. So then to write this as a percentage, you multiply the whole thing. Maybe let me do this and say multiply by 100, and then when you do multiply by 100, you get 9.3. I'll make it 8%. That is our interest now. So as for the formula that I thought of now, for simple interest, we can actually say the interest, the interest we gained. Okay, the interest we gained, let me just write interest. The interest we gained over a 8-year period, it was 3000 minus 2200. All right, this is the interest we gain over a period of 8 years. 3850 minus 2200. Come on. Yeah, so there's the interest we gained, right? And remember now, the interest, it's actually calculated by, you have it's for you to calculate the interest, you have the principal amount. Yes. You have the principal amount multiplied by interest multiplied by the number of years invested in it. Right, so when we do these calculations, this is the interest that we gain over a period, right? So we have 1650. and of course here you have 2200, and of course here you have 8, right? So I can say divide by 2200 multiply by 8. I don't know, I'm just testing this if it works or not. Times 8. So of course this side is just gonna cancel out, so you'll have I equals to 605 and 200 times 8. Damn, it actually works. It actually works. It actually works, guys. So yeah, if you want to use it, you could. But just make sure that you know where everything came from. I could just say here like interest also interest is the same as p multiplied by r multiplied by n. Right. Yeah. This is the formula for interest, and then yeah. I think there's the last question, and it's talking about compound interest. So yeah, here I don't know, maybe there is, you could actually try to find one, like how to calculate just interest, but like it's a lot of work, so maybe don't. Right here, just sticks to the basics. Now you have a question, you write your formula down. I like blue. So you write your formula down, AP into 1 plus IN, right? After that, how much James had this much and invested it for 5 years. So that's how much he invested over a 5-year period, right? And then if the investment, or if the value of his investment is right in that 5 years, so we write that down as accumulated amount. We're calculating what compound interest did he earn, so that's how much we're calculating. And come on, n, right? And it was 5, right? So this one, you just divide by 12,000 both sides, so you have 15,600. All right. And then you have 1 plus I for interest, and then this side, then when we have this, now we get rid of this 5. And how do we do so? Right. There are different ways. Sometimes you can do this both sides, you can do this both sides, right? Or alternatively, both sides you can just raise everything to the power of 1 over 5, right? Raise everything to the power of 1 over 5. That's what I'm gonna do. So you say times 1 over 5 to the power of 1 over 5. After you've done that, this side you have 1 plus I, right? And you have 1 plus I, and this side you have 15,600, 12,000, 1 over 5. That's how much we have. And then since this minus 1, we're gonna transpose it to the side. I can just do this and say minus 1. Then from there we will get our value. Cool. And the value we get is 0.05387. Let me leave it there. Yeah, but then you could say therefore you have being what? 5.39%, right, per annum, right? That is the interest. So Look, I want to show you guys something which is highly unnecessary. Like, I'm not advising guys to actually memorize this. It's highly unnecessary. You know this formula. You say A divided by P. You have 1 plus I over N, right? Then you multiply. You raise everything to the power of 1 over A, 1 over N. So you have this to the power of 1 over N. Then this side you're gonna have 1 plus I, right? Because that cancelled off. Then you have A 1 over N minus 1 equals to I. So this is actually the formula. Yeah, I don't advise you. I mean, you can, my god, you can actually memorize this, and I don't know, but if you just know the formula for A equals to P into 1 plus I all to the power of N, if you know that formula, you are good to go, right? And your algebra, I'm sure it's very good. I believe in you. I'm sure algebra is very good, so I trust you won't make any mistake. But then also, if you are asked to calculate this question, you can literally start first by simplifying this to make I subject of the formula, and then after you've done that, then you substitute, and then yeah, that is also allowed. In fact, I think I would even prefer that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so yes guys, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video where we'll be talking about much interesting things.